When was the last time you saw her?
I saw her Sunday just before I went to work. So I had to be to work at 3:30. And she had left a little before I went to work. And I haven't seen or heard from her since then.
Where was she headed? Do you know anything about where she was going or?
No, but later I heard that one of her friends, she was supposed to go to over on one of her friends' house later on that day, around 3:30, and she said she never came. I never called.
What's your concern right now? I mean, talk about as a mom, what is this like?
Well, it's painful because she never did this before. She always kept in touch with me. Always been able to contact her. And she never just went and never called or anything like that. And it's bothered me because it's been a long time. And this never happened before. And she got my grandbaby with her. And I need to know where they are. And I want somebody to help me find them. She's 34, 4'11". Her daughter's 8 months. And I want her to come home. If anybody's seen my baby, please bring her home. Her name is Kiera Johnson, and we live.
Her mother and her baby girl left home one morning and were never seen again. For 8 long years, their family lived in limbo, waiting, searching, hoping for answers that never came. And then, out of nowhere, an arrest. But here's the thing, there are no bodies. No final goodbye. No closure. So, what really happened to Kiera Johnson and her baby, Chloe? And the biggest question of all, why did it take this long to arrest someone? Because if the truth was always there, why did it take 8 years to act? Kiera Johnson was more than a name in a headline. She was a daughter, a sister, and most importantly, a mother. At 34 years old, she had built her entire world around her baby girl, Chloe. Those who knew Kiera described her as kind, loving, and deeply devoted to her daughter. She wasn't the type to just walk away from her life. Her twin sister, Tear Petway, put it best, "All I know is her." That bond, the unbreakable connection between them, makes what happened next even harder to understand. On the outside, Kiera's life looked like that of any young mother. She was working hard, raising her child, and navigating co-parenting with Carlos Johnson Jr., Chloe's father. Public records confirm that Carlos was in Kiera's life, but their relationship wasn't always smooth. Then one day, everything changed. Kiera and baby Chloe vanished. No warning. No signs of struggle. Just gone. And that's what makes this case so chilling. This isn't just a missing person story. This is a mother and her baby, 2 lives, disappearing without a trace. For years, her family begged for answers. They never gave up. And now, after nearly a decade, there's finally been an arrest. But if police believe they've had the right suspect all along, why did it take 8 years? And more importantly, where are Kiera and Chloe? On the morning of April 30th, 2017, Kiera Johnson had plans. She told a friend she'd meet up with them that day, but she never arrived. At first, maybe it seemed like a misunderstanding. Maybe she got caught up with Chloe or had a last-minute change of plans. But when Kiera's family couldn't reach her, panic set in fast. This wasn't like her. She was a dedicated mother, always in touch with her family, always showing up when she said she would. And then, just days later, a chilling discovery. Kiera's car was found abandoned in Newport News, Virginia. No Kiera. No Chloe. And inside? Nothing unusual. No signs of a break-in. No signs of a struggle. It was as if she had parked it there, and simply disappeared. That didn't make sense. Kiera's family knew right away, something was wrong. Her twin sister, Tear Petway, was one of the first to speak out publicly, saying, she would never just leave. All I know is her. Those words carried pain, frustration, and fear. She knew Kiera better than anyone. If Kiera was missing, it wasn't by choice. But if Kiera didn't walk away, where was she? At the time, the person who should have had the most to say, Carlos Johnson Jr., Chloe's father, seemed to stay quiet. According to public records, police never named him as a suspect in those early days. But was he cooperative? Did he help in the search? As the days turned into weeks and the case started to go cold, one question became impossible to ignore. If Kiera didn't just leave, then what happened to Kiera and Chloe? For nearly 8 years, Keir and Chloe Johnson's case sat in the dark, unanswered, unresolved, and unshakable for the family that refused to give up hope. Then, in February 2024, out of nowhere, an arrest. Carlos Johnson Jr., Chloe's father, was taken into custody and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. After all these years, the justice system was finally moving. But why now? Had police been quietly building a case this entire time? Did they uncover new evidence, something that changed everything? Or maybe someone finally came forward. Newport News police haven't revealed exactly what led to this moment, but one thing is clear: they now believe Keir and Chloe were murdered. But before anyone could celebrate this as justice, there's a huge problem. Keir and Chloe's bodies have never been found. No graves. No crime scene. No physical proof of what really happened. So, is this really justice? Or is there more to this story than we've been told? For years, Keir and Chloe Johnson's family lived in a nightmare with no end. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into years. And every single day, one question haunted them: where are they? And then, after nearly 8 years of silence, everything changed. February 2024. Newport News police announced a major breakthrough. Carlos Johnson Jr., Chloe's father, had been arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The news sent shockwaves through the community. For nearly a decade, there had been no arrests, no public suspects, no answers. And now, just like that, the man who had once been part of Keir's life was sitting in jail.
And I will tell you why in just a second. There's a rule of professional responsibility for lawyers in Virginia. It's Rule 3.6 is titled Trial Publicity. And it says, quote, a lawyer participating in or associated with the investigation or the prosecution or the defense of a criminal matter that may be tried by a jury shall not make or participate in making an extrajudicial statement that a reasonable person would expect to be disseminated by means of public communication that the lawyer knows or should know will have a substantial likelihood of interfering with the fairness of the trial by a jury. A lawyer should exercise reasonable care to prevent employees and associates from making an extrajudicial statement that the lawyer would be prohibited from making under the rule. So again, I'm not going to answer any questions about the case because of that rule, because I don't want to run afoul of it. But the purpose of this meeting today is to announce that, as you know, back on April 30th of 2017, Keir Johnson and 8-month-old daughter Chloe disappeared, and they have not been seen since that time. We have been working very diligently on that case since that time, and I'm happy to announce that last Friday around noon, Carlos Johnson, who is Chloe's father, was arrested in a traffic stop on the interstate in the city of Newport News. This case has required an incredible amount of work. If you look to my left, you see a cart full of binders. Each one of those binders represents evidence in this particular case. There are 21 of them. There are also a bunch of thumb drives that represent all the hard work that members of the Newport News Police Department, the state police, the FBI, and the Attorney General's office have put into this case. And so for the last 7 years, I want everybody to know we haven't been sitting on our hands, but the focus of everything that we've done has been to bring the person responsible for the murder of these 2 beautiful people to justice.
Accused of murdering her and their child. But the biggest question still remains: why now? Had police been quietly building their case for years? Did they finally uncover new evidence? Or had someone, a witness who had stayed silent all this time, finally come forward? Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew called it a long time coming, but he stopped short of giving details. There were no public statements about what changed, only that investigators were now confident that Carlos was responsible. And yet, there's a huge problem. Keir and Chloe's bodies have never been found. No remains. No confirmed crime scene. Nothing. And that leaves an unsettling question. If there are no bodies, can there ever really be justice? Or is there still more to this story, something we haven't been told? For years, Keir and Chloe Johnson's family lived in a nightmare with no end. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into years. And every single day, one question haunted them: where are they?
it just feels like the ball is finally starting to roll, I guess. Like they're finally starting to take care of her.
When we talked in 2022, you said you believed that someone your sister knew took her life. Does this confirm that to you?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Carlos Johnson, who is that, Tier?
That was Chloe's biological father. Yeah. That's who we've always known to be the alleged suspect, or however you're supposed to say it. That's who we always known, but we just couldn't say. But I'm glad the police finally made an arrest, and they can start the legal process on putting him away.
The man who had once been part of Kier's life was sitting in jail, accused of murdering her and their child. But the biggest question still remains: why now? Had police been quietly building their case for years? Did they finally uncover new evidence? Or had someone, a witness who had stayed silent all this time, finally come forward? Newport News Police Chief Steve Drew called it a long time coming, but he stopped short of giving details. There were no public statements about what changed, only that investigators were now confident that Carlos was responsible. And yet, there's a huge problem. Kier and Chloe's bodies have never been found. No remains. No confirmed crime scene. Nothing. And that leaves an unsettling question. If there are no bodies, can there ever really be justice? Or is there still more to this story, something we haven't been told? For Kier and Chloe Johnson's family, the arrest of Carlos Johnson Jr. wasn't closure. It wasn't relief. It was another wave of pain, a reminder that after 8 years, the questions haven't stopped. Kier's twin sister, Tier Petway, had spent almost a decade fighting for answers. And when the news broke that Carlos had been arrested, she didn't have words for him. She didn't need any. When asked what she would say to Carlos, her response was simple. Nothing. I have nothing to say to him. Because what could she say? What could possibly bring back her sister? Her niece? The family had suspected Carlos from the beginning, but waiting nearly 8 years for justice? That's something no family should ever have to endure. And now, the legal battle begins. Carlos Johnson Jr. is set to appear in court for his preliminary hearing on June 26, 2024. From there, the case could move to trial. If convicted, he could face a life sentence. But without bodies, without a crime scene, will a jury find that the evidence is enough? Will Kier and Chloe finally get justice? Or will this case, like so many others, leave more questions than answers? What do you think? Should he be convicted without the bodies? Let me know in the comments. So now, the biggest question remains. Where are Kier and baby Chloe? Carlos Johnson Jr. has been arrested, charged with their murders, but will he finally reveal the truth? Or will this case end like it began, with more questions than answers? What do you think? Do you believe Carlos Johnson Jr. is guilty? And if so, why did it take 8 years for an arrest? Let's talk about it in the comments. And this case isn't over yet. We'll be covering the trial, the evidence, and every new development as it happens. So if you want to stay updated, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because there's still so much more to uncover. Stay tuned.